All right, welcome back. We are on day 3. This is the end of the week in terms of your notes. So you want to be basically an expert by the time you're done with this, because tomorrow will be a review and then Friday will be your quiz. So what we do today is going to be similar to what we did yesterday in a lot of ways. We're doing division. So let's think back to our division rule. When we have a base to a power divided by another base, or excuse me, the same base to a different power, the way we find the power, we keep the base, but we subtract those powers. So that's going to be a key idea for what we do today. The rest of what we do today is very similar to yesterday. You can see we're going to be doing division, and you can see that we have scientific notation. So just like yesterday, I'm going to focus on the constants. So I'm going to divide those constants first. I'm going to do my power rule for my tens. So I'm going to use my quotient or division rule for powers on the tens. And then after that, I'm going to rewrite if I have to. So I'm going to rewrite if needed in scientific notation, because remember yesterday some of the numbers came out where they had too many digits to the left of the decimal. And then I'm going to go ahead last and, just like yesterday, combine those powers of 10. So that's easier for me to say than for you to understand. So let's walk through that. So first thing I'm going to do is get out my calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 1.2 and divide it by 1.6. I get 0.75 out of that division. Then I'm going to use my power rule that we just talked about, and I'm going to think, okay, that's going to equal 10 to the top power minus the bottom. And you have to be careful with that, because subtracting a negative will actually turn it into addition. So I end up with times 10 to the 7th power. So I used my division on the calculator. I used my division rule on the powers of 10. Now I do need to rewrite this one, because if you notice, there is not a decimal, or excuse me, a digit to the left. So I'm going to replace my decimal in the right spot for scientific notation, but it really needs to be 1 to the left. So I'd have to call it times 10 to the negative 1, and then I still need to multiply that by 10 to the 7. So that's where this last step of combining the powers of 10 comes in. I've got the 7.5 good to go, but now I'm going to take my negative 1 and positive 7 power and add them together, because now I'm multiplying these 10s. So I have the same base, but to a power of 6. Final answer in proper scientific notation. All right, let's tackle the next one in the same way. So I'm going to get my calculator out. I'm going to take 4.5 and divide it by 1.5. And I got a 3. So I'm going to go ahead with 3.0. And then here, I'm going to look at my rule and say the top power minus the bottom power, which turns into adding a positive. So I get times 10 to the 7. And this one's awesome, because my 3 has just one digit to the left between 1 and 10. So I'm finished. So a lot of times I don't need to go from this part on down. Sometimes I can just do the top 2 steps. And last example. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to take these numbers on my calculator, 6.5, and I'm dividing by 1.6. I'm getting 4.0625. Here, I'm going to take my top power minus the bottom power, and they won't always be negatives. It's just in these examples, it's working out that way. Same as adding a positive. So I actually end up with times 10 to the 13th power. And good news, my friends, this is just one digit in front of the decimal place, so I don't have to readjust or do anything further. That is that. So again, it's kind of a combination of this rule from last week and this process that we learned yesterday. So it's a kind of a combo platter. And once again, shocker, you're going to IXL, you're going to be doing G5. And once again, you're going to do that to 80, and anything above and beyond 80 will be extra credit. So tomorrow you're going to have a chance to review. There's a worksheet for that, and then be prepared to take your quiz on Friday and call it a week. Have a good one, guys.